It's really, the floods have devastated the CBD, the lower CBD of Ladysmith. Right now, you can see some of the water here. What's unfortunate right now is that this is a stationary store, and earlier on we saw long lines outside. People have to just cross where, you know, there's no water and line up along the sandbags that have been placed outside the store, because of course schools in Kwazulu-Natal will be opening on Wednesday. Parents are trying to get some sort of stationery for their children. This is a similar situation around areas where small businesses have been damaged or seen damage because of these floods. My colleague Spongiseni Nkubande will show you how the floods have really, you know, crept up to the garage doors of various shops, and unfortunately the water itself crept into these stores, and only afterwards, when this dries up, will we know the extent of this damage. Earlier on, indeed, we were on a SAPS search and rescue boat going through these main roads of Ladysmith, which has now been turned into rivers. The water is extremely high. There's nothing that can cross there. And in fact, those who've tried to cross actually have to swim across these areas to try and get to a place of safety. One person has questioned how those living in the nearby flats, the apartments, are able to leave those apartments and get to safety. Now here you have a better view of the actual area, the destruction here. This is one part of town where you can just see it's been completely flooded. What's interesting though is that the robots there, the traffic lights, are still working. You can just see the top of those traffic lights. It's been a very long day for search and rescue teams, private organizations that have been on the ground trying to evacuate people. More than 70 people, Stephen, have been evacuated from around these areas, from shops, from their homes. One person actually slept overnight in the store that he owns that has been completely flooded. He was rescued actually on the boat we were on, and he says that he doesn't know what he's going to do go forward. It's a similar circumstance for many people. In fact, at 2 o'clock, we were at a home on Forbes Street, which is the most affected street where there's houses and businesses. One woman was stuck inside her house. Her husband had come to where some of the rescuers were gathering, pleading for assistance. And once rescuers arrived at this house on Forbes Street, the water around the house was about knee-high, and they managed to rescue this woman. She had suffered some injuries. She was even shocked at one point, and she is recovering now. She's back into a place of safety. But here's what her husband and, of course, the woman had to say to us a bit earlier today.
Izolo besilele hayi sesizwa sasinokhelwa omakhelwane ukuthi nawo amanzi basithi siyavuka amanzi hayi senitata amafriji nje phezulu ngakhona ke mina ukuthi ngiphume hayi ubamba ngathi uyangandela wazandela wavaleleka ngaphakathi njengoba sengithola ikholi kufola lo sisi yabo ufolela umunye uzako ukuthi sinaye lapha enzansi lo sisi wasentshela ke ubafo lozayo wasekhuluma nomphathwa kaImdadi ukuthi sicela lize silapha sizolanda umama hayi ngenhlanhla bese khona noba ukwazele la ukuzama wayangaleka kamakhelwane nakhona kunamanzi la ngimlande khona
bengiphezulu embhedeni sengihlulela ukuthi ngiyaphuma amanzi vele endlini asekhabathise kangaka engasakhona nokuphumeka. Ukulimala kwami la bengithi ngisusa izintambo lezi ezi-connectile ugesi, wangishaya ugesi ngase ngawela etafuleni. Wase wangidlidliza kanjalo.
Even there you can hear the words of those who were actually rescued from their homes following this localized flooding. This happened following bouts of severe storms that has occurred over these parts of KwaZulu-Natal, the inland areas, this area of Ladysmith, Msinga, Howick are among those that have been impacted by these storms we have seen happen throughout December and of course now in January. What we hear as well, which is important, is that The local municipality mayor, Zama Sibisi, says that this area has since been declared a state of disaster. He says that's the word he had just gotten from Cocta today. As a result, they'll be able to access emergency funds needed to recuperate from this natural disaster. Overall, across the province, more than 3 billion rand is needed to repair critical infrastructure following the storm damage. And another reminder is that 25 people have died over the past 24 hours, we understand, following these floods across the province, not just in the area of Msinga, but across the province. More than 25 people rather, have died. From what you can see has been happening here. No fatalities in Ladysmith. Fortunately, everyone has been evacuated to a place of safety, but it's going to take a very long time to recover economically from what has happened here.
Jacques Mahan, for your reporting, thank you very much indeed. Just amazing to see so much water. There are parts of Ladysmith, I understand, where there's much deeper water as well. Shows you what kind of weather we've seen in that part of Kwazulu-Natal. Farmers in the Free State and Northwest also complaining about the damage to their crops. Well, in a moment.